What's up guys, it's Drac, and we have an exciting sneak peek at the Mark IV. I am so stoked to be talking about this product, but this is the DZP Mark IV. The sample is fresh from the guys over at Dart Zone, and this is their, veritable sniper rifle, their caliber killer, their take on a full-length, no compromises, all metal internals, powerhouse monster blaster. And when I say monster blaster, it's supposed to be huge. Now, I would like to hope that given standard deviations and their relative applications, that I have the wingspan necessary to wield this, but we won't know until we get it out of the box. Before we do that, this is very nonchalant packaging. It's almost like frustration free. I imagine this is how they'll ship direct from Dart Zone, but it comes with one Pro Series Mark IV, 30 bamboo Pro darts, two 15-round cartridges. I assume that means magazines. One supercharged muzzle, which I imagine is going to be an extension of the overall barrel length, a scar barrel, a pro mask, two tack sights, two replacement O-rings, which is always nice. It says one up to 200 FPS spring installed, and then it comes with a 120 FPS second spring included. So between two springs and two variable barrel lengths and the ability to add a scar or remove a scar, that's a lot of different permutations of power. I imagine that given the all-metal internals, we could probably push it past 200 FPS, but we got the chronograph to find that out. But before we do any of that, let's take it apart. All right, well, I've been bamboozled. Inside, the frustration-free packaging is real packaging. Super clean, love the black and red aesthetic, and the thing that I love the most is if you don't have a dedicated carrying case, it is one. This is kind of a throwback to like the 1.0. That one came in a limited edition packaging case, and I know that I actually took mine back and forth. I would use the case to load it into the car, but this gives you a good look at everything that comes inside. It's nice if you're a collector of sorts that the packaging is protected. There were also little foam bumper things on the corner of it so that it was the box is in really good shape if that's something that's important to you. I care way more about the monster within, and it opens upside down. Giant thing of instructions. Doesn't fold back super easy, maybe. And tell you this is gonna be a long blaster. Check that out. Inside the packaging, you get blaster itself, all the good stuff we just described. Panel, two springs. The darts look a little bit different. They look like a hybrid of bamboo darts and a Target Pro darts, but very exciting. Let's get this out of the package and assemble it. Before we jump cut in, these magazines are awesome. These are easily the best magazines that I think a blaster has come with. That's, excluding OEM stuff like the stuff that Luke makes and really comparing directly to like mass manufacturers, but it blows any Hasbro magazine out of the water, definitely makes the Zuru Busby ones look cheap, and in all honesty, dwarfs the previous Dart Zone magazines. This is a 15-round magazine with a slight curve to it, but it's got a lot of features that are nice. Full-length sled and spring, this smoke kind of finish so that you can see your darts, but not easily from across the field. Loads nicely, but I think my favorite thing is these pseudo, almost 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess they're octagons almost. Knurling pattern on here that really, between the curvature and everything else, this is a comfortable magazine. I imagine it would fit in a scabbard rig pretty nicely. They're pretty good. I like the knurling, I like the texture, I like the color on them, and I like the kind of spring constant within them. I think this is the best magazine we've seen in a very long time. All right, so I was right. Blaster is a monster. Now, if you're relatively tall, I think that it's pretty comfortable. The added barrel is going to be a lot for just about anybody, but at that point, you've officially entered into DMR territory. Without the barrel, it's pretty reasonable. Assuming my wingspan is 6'6", so that's about where it's at. It feels really good. The shoulder stock is solid all the way through. I know that on the 2.1 it was a little wobbly. Stock is super solid as long as we're talking about it. It's got this kind of almost, it looks like it would be in-strike removable, but it is not. There is a screw on this side and this side that locks this in. You can remove those screws and then it should be, relatively stable installed. But if you note, the spring back here is actually contained in the stock itself. So it's making full use of this length. It's got a lot of barrel. The barrel ends about 1 inch inside of the orange cap here, allowing you to have this gasket to extend the barrel. So lots of barrel, about 10 inches. Huge plunger tube. This is an all metal plunger tube in here. Pretty good. I like that you can see it through the blaster, and then the spring comes all the way back here. So a long form spring, color coded so that this one is the kind of weaker spring and it ships with the stronger spring. The magazines themselves have a great magwell here in that it is a multi-magwell, right? It would take katanas and it would take talons. You can see that they're using a very clean double mag release setup there. But what I like is that there's no adapter, which means that this is a fixed kind of prime length. Any magazine that is crisp. I like that a lot. I guess one other thing of note is that while I'm looking down into there and I don't see a proverbial skinny pusher, it seems like either the tolerances on the mags or the pusher itself is machined down to a diameter such that these are, you know, loading either way. I don't think that it's going to gravity drop because there is no skinny pusher. However, it is an all metal pusher, which is pretty spicy in and of itself, especially if you want to take it up to those higher constants. In terms of performance, I think that we can expect with this setup 200 FP. It was smooth. I don't know. I'm using a different mic setup right now, guys, but I don't know if you can hear. It kind of had a zip sort of noise here. Not bad. All right, so a lot of power in this, even in this this kind of stock configuration. The sights themselves, I don't like ladder sights on blasters like this, but as far as ladder sights go, the fact that this one is fully adjustable and folds down is nice. Almost imbus-esque here. Again, I would replace this with a red dot if I was going to use it close quarters, and then I would probably put actual glass on it if I was going to be using it as like a competition DMR. I'm aiming at things 130 feet away. I actually prefer to run down my opponents though. I'm not Australian, so I tend to like to keep it as simple and light as possible. I think I'd strip it down and put a red dot on. But overall, the accessories that come with the blaster are nice. Dart Zone makes some of the highest quality built-in eye protection. The rubber gasket here tends to be really comfortable, especially if you're gonna be wearing it for a long time. And then the fact that it's such a large lens as opposed to kind of the cheapy gel blaster glasses means that you can wear actual sight correcting glasses underneath it, which I've always appreciated. As far as the modularity of it, I guess we can put the SCAR in first. SCAR is a friction fit into this barrel socket and appears to be a pretty generic, simple SCAR. It's got 4 lines and about a 90, like 120 degree twist to it. Seems to be tightening my grouping up, but we will take it outside and use actual distance to determine that in a second. As far as this is an actual barrel add-on. It's got a metal barrel, and then the way that these two sockets go together, it will connect and quarter turn into place to extend that roughly under a foot of barrel to almost 18, 20 inches of barrel. That's a lot of barrel. With that added, clearly this plunger has a lot of power to give. This is a full-length, you know, Caliburn-esque size plunger. The safety is built into the trigger system here. You've got access to your mag paddle, you've got the trigger itself, and then the safety is easy if you're right-handed. It's right where you want it to be. Click for fire, click for safe. I don't even know if you need to delete this one because when it's pushed in, you can see here, it is very flush. That's always been my big issue with the safeties is I hate when they jut out and get in the way of my other control suite. Now, at first glance, this was the thing that I wasn't sure I would like about this blaster. I don't necessarily love the foregrip setup. I can tell you that it's actually remarkably good. It's chunky. There's no doubt there's, you know, quote unquote, too much of it, but it's giving you, I think, the best of both worlds. I find that I'm holding it exactly how it was designed, and it fits my size large hands here pretty well. This is definitely not designed for younger foam flingers. It's also got a little bit of weight to it. You should have the overall wingspan to actuate it comfortably and the hand size to use all of the grippable surfaces well. Overall, it's not a bad foregrip. I'm pleasantly surprised by it. I think, and this is also very nice, you could switch it like this. You can't quite wrap over just because of, I guess if I removed the sights, I could. Yeah, it's not bad. Actually, am I Chris Costa? No, that's pretty comfortable. You can use it as a, you know, a vertical foregrip, an angled foregrip, or a horizontal foregrip. It's got a lot of stuff in there. When we do our breakdown and modification video, not that I think this blaster needs a whole lot of modification with how much power it's putting out, we'll see if there is an exposed pick rail underneath. But overall, a really solid build quality, kind of what we've come to expect from the Pro line. Like I said, there's absolutely no wobble in the stock. There's no pins holding this together, which is a big advantage for me. I like that it is a solid monobody design. Let's take it outside. Let's put it over the chronograph. This thing is serious. All right, the weather is not cooperating today, guys, but I wanted to put this over the chronograph. We've got the large spring and the added barrel on. Let's just see. Let's turn the chronograph on. We'll fire a couple downrange just so that you can see the overall like level shots of this. Unbelievable. I don't necessarily want to put a ton of these in the neighbor's yard, but it's very clear that this could break, you know, 120, 140 foot consistent shots. Let's tilt this way so that these aren't going completely across the yard. Put a couple over the chronograph, but I am pretty 206, 199, 204. Let's knock this down. I think we have 2 shots left in this magazine. 160, 182. So large range of variable performances from the competitive perspective. I'm pretty confident that we can add spacers to this thing if we want to modify it, and that'll be a second video down the line. Let's put a couple more. They're Pro Darts, down range. 201, 204. I'm kind of amazed by how straight the Mark IV shoots even without a scar barrel. It's just very, very consistently going in the direction that I'm pointing it. Normally you get a little bit of curve one way or another, but that's sighted in with no optics whatsoever, which is pretty impressive overall. Again, I really dig the construction of the blaster. I'm excited to play with the modular nature of it and give you guys some internal shots in the mod guide. That video should be coming out very, very soon. But overall, just a solid, very clean monobody. You know, I don't want to call it a Caliburn because it's got a lot of features that make it significantly nicer than a Caliburn. This rubberized pad is comfortable on the shoulder, but also has built-in clips that hold the included scar and will fit your O-rings, so that's nice. The same sort of rubberized texture on the stock as on the grip. That's something we've come to expect from all Pro blasters. And the weight distribution is quite nice. But overall, a really serious, competitive, out-of-the-box ready blaster that I think showcases that Dart Zone is iterating forward with their numerology. I'd love to see, you know, like a 2.2. I'm very excited to see what the next pistol entrant is going to be, but I hope they do something with the electronic platform, because while I think that the Mark III is excellent, I would love to see something with a little more dynamism in the future. Overall, I think that the 4.0 is an excellent entrant into the category. If you clock it as a hobby grade blaster, the $180 price tag is much easier to swallow at that point. I mean, after all, that is less than a flagship, you know, Nerf blaster of years past, and this does a lot more for you in a competitive focus. Speaking of competitive and casual focuses, I guess now is as good a time as any to shout out that this would be an excellent blaster for the Foam Pro Tour. You could pull this out of the box and compete with it exactly as it is. That's coming up in Charlotte, of course, and Dart Zone is going to be present at FoamCon and the Foam Pro Tour, so whether they're showcasing the 4.0 or whether they have anything new to show off is to be determined at this point in time. But if you want something a little more casual, and I think that clearly there's a configuration where if I pull this down and put the less competitive spring inside, anyway, I think that I can tune this thing down. I will be present at the Dart Zone Blaster Bash, which is taking place at Widener Field, a stadium it's just south of Denver, Colorado, and that is going on July 11th. That's a Sunday. I'm very excited to check out this thing's performance against a field of its peers there. Tune it down, obviously, because we're playing a variety of different game types on that day, but I'm really looking forward to that event. I plan on being there the entire time, and hopefully I get to meet you guys there. If you'd like more information on End War or the Blaster Bash, or you want to pre-order your very own Mark IV, I'll put all of the links down in the description box below. The only other thing worth noting is that while I'm a big fan of the red and gray, there is a special edition, launch edition blue version of the Mark IV that I think is tough to ignore. It'll be the first out-of-the-box blue Pro blaster, and it looks pretty sharp. Maybe we'll do some red versus blue action up in Canada here not too long. But Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the Mark IV in the comment section down below, and let me know if I'm going to catch you at Indoor or the Blaster Bash over in Colorado. I'd love to see you there. Much love. Blast on. Drac out.